Tuperas y Tuperas, today on DOOP By The River, we are going to talk about the Philadelphia Union beating down on FC Cincinnati. I'm going to say I've told you so. All right, guys. We're also going to move ahead and look at the next matchup for the Philadelphia Union as we host Montreal Impact. We're going to talk about some of the storylines and everything that has to do with your blue and gold. And let's get this started, guys. Hey, go! All right, welcome everyone to DOOP By The River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we move forward, guys, please do not forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast. It would truly mean the world to us if you could show us a little bit of love. All right, guys. So today, joining me on DOOP By The River, you guys know my man here. He's got the Union flag flying nice and high there. We got my man, Mr. Tim Lovingood. Tim, what's going on, buddy? How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. We're recording on a Friday afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Week is over. We get to relax a little bit here, talk about some soccer, and start watching some. We got the national team games. I know for you for Colombia tonight and this weekend and next week, and we get MLS action as well. So yeah, it's a good time.
Yes, sir. It is a great time if you are a soccer fan for sure. And that's correct, Tim. Like he said it. My national team is playing tonight, 7:30 on this Friday night. Colombia facing off against Venezuela. And look, I know a lot of the people who do listen to this podcast, including Tim, are U.S. men's national team fans. And I do feel for you guys. You guys can't enjoy your national team playing, which I understand that sucks. But, guys, tonight you got your boys' national team going up against El Brujo. El Brujo Martinez is, in fact, playing for the Venezuela national team. So, Tim, I figure let's start off this podcast by talking about this freaking soap opera that I think finally came to an end, man. So we've been following this for the last 2 weeks, Tim. Whether or not El Brujo was going to go up or not, we didn't believe that he would actually get interest from a South American federation. And we all know how that's gone over our history as Union fans with different South American federations. And he does get called up. Then the Union say, no, he's not going. And then I think FIFA steps in and the Venezuelan Federation get their boy to come down to Venezuela. He flew, I think on Wednesday morning we found out, and then Wednesday night he flies to Miami, from Miami to Barranquilla, and then he's practicing over there with the boys down there. So first off, Tim, thank God this soap opera is over.
Yeah.
And we can watch. It sucks because he's not playing with us, but seeing one of our own playing in an international game is pretty huge. And this isn't a friendly. This is World Cup qualifier, so this is very important. So your thoughts on this whole situation, man?
Yeah, I think you stated it best on Twitter when you said this is a freaking telenovela. Like, that's exactly what this is. Like, it was, one thing, then another, then no, it's not actually that. And then they go back and forth, and then in the end, this is the outcome. So, no, I think it's great for El Brujo. I think, if he had stayed with the Union, obviously, the team was very comfortable with the shape and how El Brujo plays, and he would have started with the Union. Now we know he's with his national team. He gets to represent his country, and it's what he wanted. It's what the federation wanted as well, because they had FIFA step in and write that letter to the Union that said you have to let him go. So, while it might not be the safest thing right now, even for anyone playing in real competitions internationally with all this travel and everything, it is what it is. And we'll get to see him, maybe he starts that against your team here,
Yeah.
See what happens.
That would be the best case scenario for myself, if you ask me, watching my team facing off against one of my favorite players. Absolutely. I'll definitely sign up for that. I do want to say one thing, Tim. The whole safety aspect of El Brujo. I understand, like, Matiš Orvić did go play with his under-21s for Slovakia. I get that. But I'm not familiar with what's going on in Slovakia in their situation with the pandemic. But from what I'm hearing in Europe, it's a lot more progressive than anywhere in the world, really, or most of the continents, I should say. South America, and specifically Colombia, where he is heading to first, talking to family back at home, the pandemic, especially where we're at, I know he's going to the opposite end of the country, but where we're at in Colombia, it is not getting that much better. Now, he's going to more of the beach side of Colombia. I would hope that it's been a little bit better, but, I would assume that the whole country is sort of like where my family is at in the south of Colombia. So it is a little bit of concern of his health. So I hope they do follow the precautions and he does stay safe. But I understand the Philadelphia Union's concern. They are monitoring the situation. Like they are looking at what's going on down there, and I'm sure they had look at what's going on as far as the pandemic goes, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and, that's all we can really hope for is that, everyone follows the rules. They don't do anything except for, playing these World Cup qualifiers, because it is very important, for these countries to play these matches, to get ready. World Cup's only 2 years away now. So, and we'll see.
Tough, man.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, well, let's move forward here, Tim. So in that press conference, obviously, Jim did touch upon El Brujo Martinez on Tuesday, but he also talked about Corey Burke.
Mm-hmm.
So shouts out to Joe Tanzi. Joe brought up the question about whether or not Corey would play this season. And Jim said that press conference that Corey Burke was in transit. He was on his way to Philadelphia. And then what do we see a couple hours later? Corey Burke on his Instagram stories, a picture at the Philadelphia airport, heading over to, I would assume, down to Chester first, right? But so he should be playing with us very soon, Tim, right? If this is the case.
Yeah, I mean, I would think so.
We don't know his physical status for sure. First.
Physical status has to be checked out, and then obviously quarantining coming into the country. I would assume it would be that 10-day window that we've seen a lot of soccer players have to go through across the world to get ready to play. We'll see what happens with that, but I think the Union too are in an interesting spot in that Corey was still considered an international player, and I think they would technically need to get another international spot on their roster to allow him to actually feature in games. There was a rumor earlier today that was brought up actually by Tom Bogert of MLS.com. He was like, oh, maybe, Philadelphia need an international slot for Corey to come back, and it looked like Sporting Kansas City had one that they were willing to trade. So he kind of put that out there, but it turns out that it was actually DC that was getting the international spot from Kansas City, not the Union. So we'll see what actually happens with that, how they kind of finagle the situation to allow Corey to play. But I hope that gets kind of situated here soon, and we get to see him in the next few weeks.
Yeah, that would be definitely ideal. We talked about it plenty, Tim. Like the possibility of having him come off the bench. I think we've seen plenty of Andrew Wooten. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
And if Corey can give you someone close to what he was giving you before, he had to get shipped off back to Jamaica, then that should be really good and bode in our favor, man. So I'm excited about Corey. He absolutely deserves this. He's been going through hell over the last year, and you want to see a good guy like this get this huge win in his career, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll get to see what he can do. He was when he was on loan with the team in Jamaica, and then also he went on loan over in Europe. I can't remember the country, but he was scoring goals everywhere he went. I know the competition probably wasn't at the level MLS is at right now, but he's the guy that just always kind of finds a way to score. And for the Union, if they have that guy coming off the bench like that, then I think it will be really to their advantage. If you could have a bench with Wooten, Burke, Elsinho, and then even Fontana, like those four attacking options coming off the bench, and you have a real team with depth going towards the playoffs.
Jim's got some toys, man.
Yeah.
Jim's going to have some toys for sure. I love it. I absolutely love it, Tim. All right. Let's talk about some important matters here. So I was able to ask a question during the press conference on Tuesday, and I asked Jim because it was ironically the day that Governor Tom Wolf announced that public sporting events will be able to allow 15% capacity in the stadiums. So for the Union, that's roughly, give or take, fans alone, probably 2,500, we would say, are allowed in the stadium. So, Tim, this is kind of a big deal. We are talking about a crazy year that we have lived in, COVID pandemic. We have to stay in our houses all day. We have to make sure we're extra sanitary more than before. We got to wear masks to go out. We have to be socially distanced. Like, it's weird as hell. And now we're saying that we're allowing fans in stadiums. Now the Philadelphia Union did put out some protocols as far as having fans in stadium, which is really good to hear from the team. But Tim, first off, I want to hear your thoughts, and then give us a little deep dive into what exactly these protocols will be.
Yeah, so my initial thoughts when I saw this was, first off, I was a little surprised that the governor brought this about. I thought that it would take a little bit longer. I was thinking maybe like November, December, we would see it more for like the NFL, and that would be it. I think it's a really great opportunity for the union and for the fans that get to go to show that, if everyone can follow the rules and things are in place, like really good protocols are in place, then we can start to see these sort of things happen and maybe no spikes come of it as well. Obviously, we've seen it in the NFL. There's been teams that are allowing fans in. They obviously have social distancing and mask requirements, and not everyone listens, as we get to see when we watch those games and we see the cameras kind of pan across the little bit of a crowd that's there. Sometimes you see people not really following the rules.
Even in MLS,
even
Orlando fans.
Well, Florida is different.
It's a different breed.
Florida is just different, man. I don't know what to say about Florida. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But I know for the union, the protocols that they have in place are going to be enforced. And I think a good precursor of what this really brought about this was the MLS's back tournament and how they had fans in the stadium to watch the game on the big screen. They had it was an event where you had to get temperature check and you had to wear your mask, and they actually I went to those games there, and they had people walking around, staff members checking everyone, make sure they were wearing their masks, making sure they were staying far apart from the people that they didn't come with, like things like that. Like, and that's the protocols that are there now. For the actual games, the seats are really spaced apart. I was actually able to look at what the ticketing and what it looked like and how they kind of spaced it out, at least virtually. And there's a good distance between the fans and the players on the field. I believe there's like 2, 3, 4 rows, the front rows that you can't sit in. And then they have groups of 2 and groups of 4 seats like scattered throughout every section, where it maybe would be like 50 people in a section that usually holds like 250 people. So when you think of it that way, like that, they're doing those things, they have those protocols in place. They're really suggesting that you stay in your seat as much as possible when you come in. There is going to be, food and alcohol, available for people. But to buy alcohol, you have to buy a meal. So you can't just go down and buy a lot of, buy your 2 beers or 3 beers or whatever you drink, in the first half. But they have all these.
You can't load them up this time, man.
No, you have all these things in place. They have designated parking sections for people. So if you bought a ticket for a certain section, you actually are told which parking lot to park in and which entrance to go in and leave. They're dismissing sections, like each section individually for when it's time to leave. They're really doing the best that they can with this, and I'm excited to see it. I actually am gonna go down there. My wife did get tickets, so I'm excited to go and sit in the stands.
Shout out to Courtney.
Shout out to Courtney. I'll be in the river end, so that'll be fun to see what this looks like. So I'll get some good video content to really show everyone that might be a little bit skeptical how it goes, what it looks like, and hopefully everyone follows the rules.
Yeah. So look, well, first off, guys, make sure you do follow the DOOP By The River Twitter account to keep an eye on that and to stay posted what Tim puts up on the account. But I'm gonna be completely honest with you, Tim. It's more so for me, and I put this on Twitter too.
Yeah.
It's more so I don't trust people, right? Yeah. So we don't know where people have been. We don't know how serious they take this. Let's be real here. There are people out there who don't believe in this. They think this is like some sort of government front or whatnot. But this is pretty serious to me, and I am not trying to get the COVID virus. I think a lot of us feel the same way. So I think I have my own plans on Sunday, which we'll talk about in a second. But I was still kind of skeptical of going on Sunday. So I will definitely see what you see. I'll feel it out. But And it's crazy because you know me, Tim. I listen to a lot of 97.5, Mike Missinelli. Shouts out to Mikey Miss the goat. He's definitely inspired me a lot. But this week on the show, they were talking a lot about this because obviously for Philadelphia fans, they want to know about going into the Eagles games,
Right.
and I think he put it perfectly. Like the issue is that there is alcohol involved. Now I trust Union fans more than I trust Eagles fans for sure. But when there's alcohol involved, let's all face it, sometimes we misjudge things, and masks could be forgotten or not worn at all. But you got to take off your mask, then you drink. So those are different things that definitely concern me. But if there's one team in Philadelphia I can trust with this, it's the Philadelphia Union, and especially the fact that we're in Chester. We're kind of secluded from the world a little bit. You know what I mean? We're a little more in open space. So it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. But for a lot of people, it's definitely a little concerning for sure, and it's weird. Like we haven't been to a sporting event, I think for Union fans since October, the Red Bull game,
Yeah.
in the playoffs. So that was the last time a lot of us were inside Subaru Park. So we'll see how this goes. We'll all be watching on TV, of course. So hopefully, we pray, we cross our fingers. There are no positive tests after that game. Any last thoughts on this, man, before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, I think too, just the thing that I was a little skeptical at first as well. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do it, but I know my wife really wanted to go, so she was like, "No, we'll test it out." And the thing that really made me feel comfortable was the thing that the union did send to us individually when we bought our tickets. Like all of these guidelines that I talked about are available on the union's website, but they sent like very individualized like information and rules that you really had to follow, and if you didn't, then obviously you would have to leave. So that made me feel a little bit better. And then also too, just knowing like if I don't feel comfortable there, or if there's something dumb happening around us, like we can just go. Like it's not worth it. Like I think to go back to the stadium, especially almost a year on from the playoff game, like you said, is going to be a great experience for a lot of fans that want to be safe. But yeah, I don't think it's going to cause any huge overreaction from anyone
Yeah.
home.
Tim, out of curiosity, was there an increase in ticket prices? If you know?
Yeah, so I did. Yeah, obviously my wife went and looked on the website, and we were looking to get something near where her season tickets are, which is in the River End. Usually, I think those tickets used to go for around like $30 plus online fees. It looked like this time the actual ticket price without any fees was $21. So that was obviously really nice. Now, obviously, other sections are going to be more. That's just how that's going to work throughout the stadium. I didn't get a chance to look at those prices, but that's what I saw. That's what we had there. So
From if I'm not mistaken, I think like like the opposite end of River End, is like they always call it like the family section. But
yeah,
I think is that typically cheaper? If I'm not mistaken.
a little bit. So I know the way that it normally works is, obviously if you're, near, on one of the sides of the stadium near midfield, that's going to be the most expensive seats. And then as you branch out, it gets a little bit more cheaper each like grouping of sections. So the
Gotcha.
corners and the ends where your view isn't of normally, the whole field in a certain capacity, usually is a little bit less money in a normal world. So I think that's what they're trying to keep it to right now as well.
Okay.
But it looked like, prices were down a little bit. Obviously, there's still other fees, and you're required to buy a parking pass as well. So there's no exchange of money on the day when you come to the parking lot. So you already buy that in advance. So that adds money onto it when you buy the tickets, when you go online and look. So yeah.
Good to know. Definitely good to know. So,
Yeah.
guys, if you guys are going down there too, definitely link up with Tim and let us know
Yeah.
your thoughts of your process of going through these tickets. Like, were you worried? I mean, obviously we all miss the Union, so a lot of us do want to go, but definitely give us your thoughts and your opinions. You can definitely tweet us at DOOP By The River podcast. Awesome stuff. So, last note before we start getting into previews and reviews, Tim, we need to take a moment of silence here because. Ben Olsen's gone, Tim. Ben Olsen has been like, well, you know, he got the Matt Klimtek situation. He
Yeah.
stepped down as the coach of DC United. So, but yeah, Tim, obviously, we've beaten up on Ben Olsen over the past couple of years. Your thoughts, man, real quick on the Ben Olsen stepping down,
I mean,
quote unquote.
with the year that DC has had, I mean,
That's rough.
it had to have happened this way. I mean, it sucks for him. I think uh, he did okay with what he was handed when he was handed a team with Wayne Rooney and some other star players. They looked really good. When they didn't have star players, he didn't really coach up the team. It is what it is. I think my really only thought on it was what Opta Jack had put out, which is like they do stats for a lot of things, and their one soccer stat that they put out the other night when he was let go, even though he's still going to be a part of the team, which, yeah, like you said, it's a Matt Klimtek situation. But their stat was that Ben Olsen has played in or coached 71.7 or 71.1% of DC United's games in MLS over 26 years.
That's
Like,
wild.
that's ridiculous. Like,
That's
that's
absolutely wild.
crazy. So that's my only takeaway. I was like, wow, that guy's been around DC for a long time.
Oh my God. Yeah, if you ask me, so like if you are one of those like NFL heads who like is starting to get into the MLS a little bit, I think the perfect example of Ben Olsen has to be like Marvin Lewis, who was the coach of the Bengals for so long, and every year you wondered why is he coming back? Like this team it's not good. They're not bad either. They're just like
Right.
middle of the pack, and you just wonder why he's had a job for so long, but that's Ben Olsen in the MLS, and his reign has finally ended. And Tim, if I'm being honest, just watching him on the sidelines this year, you
Yeah.
saw a guy who was just over it. He
Yeah.
was just over it, man. Like the cards he got dealt this season with the injuries and the squad in general. Like I know you guys when we did the previous beginning of the year were high on DC United. I knew like I wasn't sold on what they were giving out.
Yeah.
They had a nice starting lineup, yes, but as we know, depth goes a long way. So it's been rough, and he's going to be in the organization still, so it's not a terrible situation for Ben Olsen. Like you're still part of the organization, but you definitely don't want to go out like this, man. You definitely don't.
No. I mean, it's even worse when it's the day after your team loses 4-1, which is what happened to them against New York City the other night.
I
It's
know,
just ugly.
absolutely terrible. All right, well, we'll see who the next permanent. They haven't announced the permanent coach, right? Do they have like an interim yet?
No, I
It
mean,
still didn't happen today.
I'm sure they have an interim. I haven't seen who it is. Yeah, it's a mess. I think this is a really interesting opportunity, though, and I want to throw it out there. DC is the perfect place for a new head coach and someone who might break some barriers down in MLS. And someone tweeted this out. I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about that they wouldn't be surprised if DC might look into the idea of bringing in a coach like Jill Ellis, who coached the U.S. women's national team, who is right now not coaching. To bring the first female head coach into MLS. Obviously, it was more like a far-fetched, like fan, like talking, oh, wouldn't this be a cool idea? But I think that would be a really cool idea, a really good option. Obviously, she's shown that she's a winner, and if she could be the one to maybe lead DC into the future, I think that would be a really cool opportunity and really cool thing to see here.
Tim, why do you gotta tell me this, man? I want to hate DC. I don't want to like DC. Come
Hey,
on, Tim.
hey, I mean, this isn't true, and who knows if it's actually going to happen. And if it doesn't, then we'll just go right back to hating them. But I'll just like them for a minute if they hire Jill Ellis.
I will say though, Tim, if there is a league in America that is going to do this,
Yeah,
MLS. Like the NBA is still a very progressive league, and I think they've been doing a great job, especially with all the social issues that we've had over the past year. But I still think there is a lot of that macho man mentality in some of these NBA locker rooms.
yeah,
And in the MLS, I feel like we're a little bit more woke. I hate to use that term. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I think we're a little bit more woke. Where I think the MLS it would work perfectly. And
yeah.
you are starting to see a lot of females in coaching in a lot of different leagues.
Mm.
The NFL, believe it or not, there is a couple of female coaches on the sidelines. So if there is a league that is going to do this, I would predict the MLS to do it first. So I
Yeah.
really hope that is the case. I was going to say, Tim, the DC United, they should have just fired Ben Olsen last year and said, Wayne, you want to coach? You go coach
For
a play.
real,
What are you doing?
player manager Wayne Rooney from DC. I don't
How
know.
are
I
they
don't
doing
think
at Derby?
I have not checked. I think Wayne didn't like the travel in America. I think that was really what it was about, to be honest. The
It's a
travel and the weather. Yeah.
it's a beautiful country. It's just really big. You know?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is. All right. Tim, let's get right into these matches. We did a lot of headlines today. So let's get right into these matches. So first off, let's do the review of FC Cincinnati midweek game. Now, we all remember we faced them a couple weeks ago, and it was a dull 0-0 draw in Cincinnati in that terrible turf field at Nippert Stadium. Well, the Union bounced back, and it didn't start off pretty, Tim. It was in 0-0 halftime. The Union really fed into what FC Cincinnati wanted to do, kind of, and you saw adjustments, and we came out victorious, guys, winning 3-0 over FC Cincinnati, the absolute win we needed after that TFC game. And things are looking good back in Chester, man. So, Tim, first off, what your thoughts on the game briefly?
Yeah, I think starting out, coming out in the 4-2-3-1.
Yes,
begin the game.
The return.
It's the return of the 4-2-3-1, and I think that brought its complications in the first half, and we kind of saw what that is and what that looks like, especially when you're playing Santos and Aronson as wingers when they're not usually wingers. I know they can both play the position fine, and they did okay. But normally, Santos is a striker and Aronson is a 10. So in the first half, it took a minute for the Union to really get adjusted, and they didn't look good. They didn't have the width, and that's what you need against a team like Cincinnati that wants to sit deep. You need to spray the ball out wide, look for overlaps, and then get crosses in, or look to cut inside and take some shots that way. So yeah, the match did not start out that way, but I give major props to Jim Curtin for making the tactical subs that he had to make. I know Jack Elliott came in first for Jacob Glesnes, who looked like he might have had to go out after halftime for maybe some possible concussion protocol type of things there. So obviously Jack came in, did a really good job in his first game back in a while after being injured. But then the sub that really changed it all is Elsinho, as he usually is for the Union, came in and replaced Anthony Fontana in the 55th minute, and at a time when Fontana was the best player on the pitch. And I know a lot of people were kind of pissed that sub was made at that time, but then a few minutes later you see Elsinho get the deflected goal to put the Union up, and then after that it was over. The Union had smelled blood in the water, and they scored those two other goals.
It was a great game. Like we talked about it. The adjustments being made at halftime. And it was funny because Jim they obviously interviewed him after the first half, and he was saying like second half will probably see Elsinho. We need him to, with his ability to win on 1v1 situations, and that's exactly what happened. Did he switch over to the right wing and then Brennan switched back to the 10?
Sort of, yeah. So it looked like at times
he was all over the place. Brendan Aronson, at least.
Yeah, Aronson was kind of roaming a little bit, but I think it was more so Elsinho was on the right. I think they pushed Jamiro up, and then they had Aronson stay out on the wing on the left side. Sergio was still in. So Sergio technically played the left. So it must have been Aronson that just kind of drifted and kept kind of, going out wide. That's what we saw in that, second goal was he was out wide left, and he kind of produced the goal that he passed to Bedoya, and Bedoya finished. But yeah, I think Aronson had some free reign for sure.
It was definitely great to see. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting seeing the 4-2-3-1. I guess he didn't want to put Jack in there. Like we were all saying, like we'll see if Jack Elliott gets to start at the 6, but instead he went with Jamiro and Ali back there. And Jamiro had a solid game too. It's crazy because we haven't seen him play back there in a while because obviously we would stick it with the 4-4-2 diamond. But this was a great win. Now I know Cincinnati's fallen off the past couple matches, and I get that, but like I said, like these are the little victories you want to get. Again, they showed you that they were able to break down that back line. Yeah. They made the right adjustments, and we talked about the gamble that he made. Bringing in Elsinho for Fontana. That was a little bit of a gamble, but it panned out and it worked, Tim.
Yeah.
And the Union get 3 more points. Now, before we move on, number 1, Jack Elliott on the top Sports Center top 10.
Yeah, his goal.
We made it. We made it. We're on the Sports Center top 10.
There's been a few Union goals in the Sports Center top 10. They're always at near the top, so not down near number 1 or anything like that. But yeah, Jack Elliott's header, got the number 9 spot, which was great, and it was a great header.
So Tim, just a quick question.
Yeah.
So those those 4 for 4 fans, what do they say when they see that on Sports Center? Like, what is what?
I mean, it's
head?
probably
Are they like, wait?
Yeah, the reaction is probably like, "Oh, cool! Like they scored. Look at that! They scored a goal. I guess. Okay, can we get to real sports?" That's probably what they say. That's probably what they say.
Oh my God, that is absolutely terrible. Well, for all those 4 for 4 fans, the Philadelphia Union moved into second place again with that victory. They are still behind Toronto FC, but there is still plenty of time, guys. So the Union look good. They look good, Tim.
They look good. I mean, they've now shown that they can make adjustments in game to change the way that they're playing to beat a team that they should beat. Now the real test is going to be in the future when they do play Toronto or they do play Columbus. Can they make
Orlando?
Orlando, that's true too. I don't think they play Orlando in the remaining games, but yeah, maybe we can see them in the playoffs. Like if in any case, the adjustments that need to be made in those games need to be at the same level that they were in the Cincinnati game. That's the step that hasn't really been taken yet.
Yes, sir. That's completely right. All right. Well, Tim, let's move on here, man.
Yeah.
So next up, dude. Not gonna say I'm worried, but a little bit. I'm a little worried, a little bit.
Yeah.
We're facing off against Montreal Impact. I get it. We faced these guys off on September 20th in Red Bull Arena. It was a weird ass game. I've never seen Red Bull Arena with so much blue in it. Maybe for NYCFC games when they had to play there, but yeah. So ever since then, though, I mean, well, let's just focus on the last game they played. Last time we saw them in action on MLS action, they faced off against Columbus Crew and won in an upset fashion, winning 2-1. Yeah. And now we have to face them fresh off of that huge victory. I mean, that could either be like the confidence boost that they need. Like, listen, there's not a lot of star power on Montreal, but Thierry Henry has this team working their ass off because, let's face it, there's not much talent on that side. Yeah. That is the type of team that can come into your house and get 3 points, and we don't want that. So, Tim, let's start off with how the hell do we make sure we can get another 4-1 score line at home on Sunday?
Yeah, it's going to come down to how Montreal does in their transition moments, either their transition offense or defense. We've seen from Montreal over the years and under Thierry Henry now that they love to sit back and counter, sort of like the Union do. And there's times where they can hit it perfectly and they have, these great attacking looks and they score goals. And we've seen in the past, the Union haven't really been able to deal with those kind of transition moments very well either. So it's really going to come down to how well the midfield and defense for the Union can adjust to a Montreal counterattack, and then how the Union's attack can find ways to spread the ball out on Montreal when there is that space there in behind. And I think the real factor for the Union is going to be who plays in the defensive midfield spot, because this is a game where if you had El Brujo, you might feel a little bit better than you do right now based on how Montreal likes to play. El Brujo loves to run around and be physical and, can really put out those fires. So now we'll have to see what Jim decides to do. Does he go with the 4-2-3-1 again, or does he go back to the diamond and maybe play Warren Creval because he's a ball-winning number 6? In there? Can he really put out the fires and help the back line? That's going to be the thing that I watch for this game.
So let me throw something at you. See what you think.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we line up in a 4-2-3-1, completely fine. But what if we did have Brandon Aronson start at the left wing, right? Hopefully Warren is healthy enough that he can play at one of those defensive midfield positions with Ali Bedoya, and then we'll have Jamiro play at the 10. What I'm thinking is, if you remember that little stretch we had end of July, beginning of August, when the Union were soaring, we had Kai Wagner, Aronson, and Casper, like obviously all kind of on that same side, and those guys had a little chemistry going. Maybe we can reawaken that chemistry again. Kai looked okay back in his first game.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, just trying to do something a little different because, teams have tape on us. Teams have, especially last week they saw, we went in that 4-2-3-1 with Fontana at the 10, and then you had Aronson and Sergio at the wings, and then you saw we got Elsinho and how that changed the game. Yeah. I want to keep teams on their toes. Like I want to be able to every match. I want teams to just stress the hell out of trying to defend us. Like, what the hell are the Union going to line up in? Like, how are we going to stop? Like, that's what I want the Union to do. So that's something I would potentially throw out there. You keep the same back line, obviously. You have Mark and Jack Elliott with Olivier. Let's give him some love, dude. Playing pretty solid as well, dude. Yep. Right? Your defensive midfielders, hopefully Warren's healthy with Ali. Your midfield, Brandon, Jamiro. And then maybe you throw Fontana on that right side. I don't know if he can.
I would think it would be more of probably a Santos, and Santos would probably play on the left for Aronson on the right. If they're going to stay in a 4-2-3-1, I would think Santos is the closest thing the Union have to a winger other than Elsinho, and you won't want to start Elsinho.
Yeah, I don't want to start him off.
So I think that's what they would have to do with that. But you brought up a really good point with the right back, Olivier Mbaizo, in a 4-2-3-1, and in this game in particular, he'll be really tested by this Montreal side, as he was sort of in the last matchup as well. I can't remember if he featured or if he came off the bench or if he started. But the Union do or maybe will have an option there, as well as Ray Gaddis has been working his way back from an injury. And if they do want to play a more defensive style so they don't get hit on a counter, I wouldn't be surprised to see Ray in there. I think Olivier has played a lot better, and he obviously gives you more in the attacking third. But if they're more concerned with how Montreal hit people on the counter like they did to Columbus this past midweek, then maybe we'll see Ray there as well.
And so we see Mason Toye in this game?
I mean, as someone who wants the Union to win, I hope not. I think if he does play in this game, if he starts, it'll be a handful. They'll probably play him up top next to Bojan. So we'll see what they can sort of do to combine together. I know it's a new team, so it might take some adjustment for Toye. But he's just one of those young American players with something to prove, and he's like the up and coming striker. Other than Josh Sargent, who's doing his thing over in Germany, he's kind of like the guy that's going to have to step up if he wants to help the national team. So this is kind of his chance. He's on a new team, being coached by Thierry Henry. Like it's
not a bad guy to learn from.
So if he is playing for Montreal in this game, starting or coming off the bench, he'll be a handful. It'll be up to Mark to stop him, Mark and Jack. So yeah,
that should be really interesting to see. That guy just got pure athleticism, in my honest opinion. So hopefully he does not play. Well, let's get your prediction. What do you game?
Yeah, I think this could be another one of those trap type of games that we thought would happen over the last few. More often than not, though, we've seen the Union adjust and come out on top. And I think they're going to do that in this match as well. They know what type of team they are right now. They are a contender for the top of the East. I know they had the setbacks with the teams that are above them or around them in the standings. This team isn't above them or around them in the standings, which means they should win this match. And I think they do it 2-1.
2-1. Okay, I see you. All right. This is tough. Because I agree with you. Like this could be a potential trap game. Like I cannot discredit this Thierry Henry Montreal Impact. Honestly, I think I'm going to go the same scoreline. I think it's going to be a 2-1 victory. I'd see Montreal getting a goal on, but I just think that the way this team is built, like this team is confidence now, and that's the main thing that you see with this Philadelphia Union every year. Like especially under Kirchner, like the confidence level keeps growing. Like
Yeah.
they believe that they are one of the elite teams in the MLS, and you definitely see it. So I think the Union find a way to get this win, but it will not be easy whatsoever. So hopefully we get the W. But let's move on, guys. And so last episode, Tim and I did a little fun. We did some predictions for the midweek games. Let's just say one of us looked pretty good on the midweek games.
I don't know. I wasn't keeping track.
I was briefly looking. All right, so let's first look at the last week's games or the midweek games, and then we will say what each person predicted, and then we will see how we did. All right, so the first matchup we had was Nashville facing off against Minnesota United. We both had Minnesota, and that wound up being a draw, so we both lost that game. All right, so let's move on to the next one, Atlanta versus Orlando. We actually both had a draw, and that was correct. So we get one there.
Woo.
Red Bull and Miami, we both predicted that correct, and that was a win. How about the Higuain goal? That was listen. He's got the luck with the Red Bull. He does not have luck against us, so I will take that victory.
Yeah, I mean, and I know MLS is trying to milk that for all that it is. They did one of those tweets of how it started versus where he is now.
Oh no!
And I'm like, they didn't put the picture of him yelling at Union players as where it started, which that's where it actually started. Come on now.
And it was at that moment Venezuela wanted to call up El Brujo.
For real? That was when they started having FIFA write the letter. They were like, no, we need him.
You don't understand. All right, to the next game, New England versus Toronto.
Yeah, I didn't get that one.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it was a 1-0 victory, so it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, so Houston versus Dallas. You had Dallas. I had a draw. We were both wrong because Houston came out, and they got a red card in that game, man.
Yeah, they came out of nowhere.
I know. Who would have thought that one, dude? All right, so where are we at here? We both got that wrong. Next matchup, we have Columbus and Montreal. As we both know, we just talked about that. Columbus got the victory, Montreal got the victory there.
Yeah.
And we both got that wrong.
Yep.
All right. NYC and DC, we both predicted that. We just talked about that as well. That just calls Ben Olsen's job.
Yeah.
Where are we at here? Let's go. SKC and Chicago. You had a draw, and I had SKC winning, and I got that one right. Let's go. Colorado and LAFC here. Where are we at? Oh, that one didn't get played, right?
Nope, that one was postponed.
Did we talk about that too?
We did. I brought it up because I thought it might happen. And yeah, that's what ended up happening. Colorado still is having, issues with COVID.
Yeah, man.
Hopefully they can, recover soon and they don't have any more positives so they can start playing their games again.
We hope Keegan and Austin are safe as well as the Colorado team, but we miss you too. All right, let's see. So, Tim, Portland and LA, what a freaking score. And is Guillermo Barrios Colta on the hot seat?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's LA, so they have the resources to give him what he wants. But was Chicharito what he wanted, or did he want someone else? Who's to really say right now? I don't know.
It's crazy because I thought he would work in that situation, but I guess it's not. It's rough, and obviously LA was trying to capitalize on the marketing that Chicharito is in that sports market, but. Right. It's rough, man. It is absolutely rough going on right now. But do we feel bad for Galaxy fans?
They've had all the rules broken for them. They can afford some of these losing seasons.
Yes, sir. A little taste of your own medicine. There you go. All right. Let's see. Seattle versus RSL. What do I have there? Okay, so you had Seattle. I had a draw, and you were right. You got one there, man. All right. Let's see, where are we at? We got the last game here, San Jose versus Vancouver. We both got that right. And really cool thing I wanted to note, Tim, having the fans at the end or wherever that was,
Yeah, they have like this cool place. Yeah.
kind of cool. Kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
In cars outside the stadium. Yeah, that was cool to see. They used to, I know as well. On the back of that screen is another screen, so they actually usually have people like out on that lawn watching the game from outside. People that don't go into the game. So that's obviously what they're doing now. But with the pandemic, they have everyone stay in their cars, and they get to still watch their team play just from outside the stadium.
And it's like a kind of an advantage, like the honking of the horns. Like that
Yeah.
would annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah, I mean,
If I
I'm
was
sure
a
there had
fan.
to be like rules with that. Like you can't, if the other team has a free kick, you all can't like lay on your horns.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they were doing a little bit of that though, I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Tim, let's look ahead at this weekend's games. So we got a couple of them,
Yeah.
and it seems as if we are spread apart 2 days. Am
Yeah.
I correct here?
Yeah.
Um,
Saturday and Sunday. Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday. All righty. I will be watching a lot of soccer this weekend. Let's go, man. I
That's
love
what
it.
weekends are for. That's how weekends should always be spent.
Weekends are for soccer, not for the boys. Maybe both. Maybe both.
Maybe. More so. Yeah.
All righty. All right. So let's look at the first game this weekend. Tim, Miami versus Houston, man. Both teams just came off a win. This might be an interesting game.
Yeah, both teams coming off a win. Miami, the home team. I think, yeah, they're moving up in the standings as well. They're still trying to fight for that last playoff spot with the players they have. I think they should beat Houston, so I'm going to say Miami win.
Yeah, they are. They are trending upwards, right?
Yeah.
They've been playing well. You would expect that from star players. Matuidi and Higuain, they both stepped up in
Yeah.
that Red Bull game. Man, this is tough. I'm gonna go Houston. I'm gonna go with a little
Okay.
upset here.
Houston come across the country and upset Miami. Oh, I'd be all for it. I want to see Gonzalo go crazy again.
That would be awesome for sure. We are here for any Gonzalo Higuain parody, I guess we could say. All right, so Colorado facing off against LA Galaxy. Now, obviously, we'll see if they play that game. But if that game does get played, I got a draw.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. I also would have a draw for that game because LA doesn't look good, and Colorado obviously hasn't really been able to train much. So yeah, I think LA would have the advantage, but they're going to Colorado, so I think Colorado would be able to pull out a point.
Yeah, it's a mess, and I feel for Guillermo because listen, Guillermo's a good coach. Like this guy wanted Boca Juniors. That's freaking hard to do, man. I don't know. It's rough sailing. Like that's like the only reason why I want the Galaxy to do well because I do feel for that guy.
Yeah.
But it's a situation at hand right now for the LA Galaxy. All right, Tim. Next match, dude, used to be a pretty solid rivalry brewing in the MLS. Lately, not so much. But we have Red Bull versus Atlanta United. This should be an interesting one. Atlanta looks a little bit better. They're getting some of their new players in there. They're trying to acclimate them. It's a different era of Atlanta United soccer, you could say. I'm going to go with ATL getting the W here. I think they're turning it around.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a rivalry renewed.
Hopefully.
Both of these teams don't like each other, obviously, and the remaining players will make sure that the new people know it. So yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I think there's going to be lots of cards, and I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw.
You got to draw.
Yeah.
Okay. Tim, this rivalry is important. I will tell you because, a lot of times in the MLS, there's these rivalries that get manufactured, as they like to say, because of region and whatnot. But a rivalry like this is huge because this is pure soccer. This is all stuff that happened on the pitch. And there were some heated matches going on over the past couple of seasons. The MLS needs more organic rivalries like this.
Yeah. And you could say, just to bring it back real quick to the Union, that maybe Miami and Philly is going to be one of those. Maybe the next time Gonzalo's in town, he'll have a hard time.
It would make sense since the Heat and Sixers are trying to brew a rivalry for whatever reason as well. All right, let's look on to the next game. We got Vancouver facing off against RSL. This is an interesting one, Tim.
Yeah, both teams are struggling. They're not in the playoffs, but Real Salt Lake is the closer of the two. They're only a point out from the playoff line there. So, and do they have the home game here? They do, or no? They're going to Vancouver, and Vancouver has some things to prove as well. If it was at Real Salt Lake, I would have given them the 3 points. But I think since it's at Vancouver right now, I think they're going to really have to prove that they can get something. So I think Vancouver and Real Salt Lake get a draw.
Okay, you got it. I'm going to say the same. I see a draw this for this game as well, man. It's just like you said, both teams out of the playoffs.
Yep.
I just think that this one is going to be it might be a snooze fest. It might be one of those 0-0 games.
It could be. Yeah.
Very well could be. All right, NYCFC facing off against New England. This one should be a good one.
Yeah. NYCFC obviously had that dominant win over DC this past midweek. New England fell short to Toronto, and they felt really hard done by that. I don't know if you actually saw how Toronto won that game, but Io Akinola got the lone goal for Toronto, but he kind of pushed off to get positioning to shoot, and New England kind of felt hard done, and then they tried to get a goal back but couldn't. So they're going to come off that being pissed and then playing a really hot New York City team. I don't know. I think I give the edge still to NYCFC. I think they win.
NYCFC. Okay. I'm going to go the opposite. I think New England do bounce back. I think that they are a good squad. They're just not better than us. So
yeah.
Let's look at Chicago facing off against DC. This could be a bad match.
Yeah.
I did see Chicago signed a Colombian player.
Yeah. They did make a new signing there, and who knows how that's gonna work out for them. But Chicago has been like really streaky this year. They get some good results and then some poor results, and then in games that they maybe should get a point out of, they lose. Sort of like those old Union teams of the past that we don't have right now, which I'm thankful for. But yeah, they should really put the beat down on DC. DC doesn't have their coach anymore. It'll be an interim coach, and I know the new coach bounces a thing, but DC is still really injured. So I give this one to Chicago. I think Chicago get 3 points.
Chicago getting the 3 points here. Let's see. This one's tough because obviously both teams are not doing so well.
Yeah.
I'm going to say DC United get a win.
Okay.
I'm going to say because you know how it always goes. Like
it's
someone gets fired, the new coach comes in, the team's inspired because they're like, oh, I don't want to lose my freaking job. So they turn up and they somehow find a way. And this is like a winnable game for DC. It's not like they're facing off against us, right? So I think, I'm going to go with another little upset here. I see DC getting a win, and then they're going to go back to losing. All right, next game we got LAFC facing off against the Sounders. This is going to be a good one, Tim.
It looks like it should be the top of the West, the top two teams. Seattle is far and away the best team in the West right now, and LAFC, they've had to deal without Vela, and now they have some of their more star players being out on international duty for World Cup qualifiers. LAFC is 7 points behind Seattle right now in the standings. They need a win bad against a really good Seattle team, and they have this game at home. I don't think they get it, though. I think Seattle finds a way to win in LAFC, and they show that they are the best team in the West. They really put LAFC in their place right now.
Jeez, Bob Bradley, get your guys to play good football. What the hell, Bob? Jeez, man. When teams are on desperation mode, certain things can happen. But I got a draw. I think this one's going to be a draw.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Cincinnati and Toronto. Obviously, we just faced off both of these teams. What do you got going on here?
I would love to say that Cincinnati comes out in their low block and they stop Toronto from scoring a goal or two goals, but it's not going to happen. Toronto's going to win
Yeah,
this game handedly. I could see it being 3-4 nothing. I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah. Give me give me 100 on Toronto, man. There's no, I don't see any ways. I think Cincinnati are turning downwards, honestly.
Yeah,
So we'll see, but
yeah,
yeah, Toronto's gonna get that win. All right, the next one should be another good one here. Orlando facing off against Columbus, man.
yep,
That should be entertaining.
yeah. 3-4 in the standings right now. Both teams with a win could jump to either second or first place. Like it's a big game for both of them. Down in Orlando, we know Orlando has fans. They don't really follow rules, so I know Florida too is really easing back on things, and even more people are going to be allowed into like sporting events like this. So it could be like a really big crowd for a really big game for Orlando. Um, Columbus coming off that loss though at home, I think they're going to be angry as well. So I think this game ends in a draw, and I think it'll be deserved for both teams.
Yeah, I'm gonna say draw too, but this one's gonna be pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean the fans do give us a little advantage to Orlando, but it's not like it's they're packing out the stadium. It's gonna be like what like 3,000, 4,000 fans
I
if that.
I don't know. Not sure. I don't know if you saw the news for Florida and with Miami regards to the Dolphins, but the Dolphins are allowed to pack their stadium. Like they're allowed to like go not full, but pretty full. So I don't know if that's all of Florida or not. I didn't read up on that, but I know that that's happening at least in the NFL. So that's why I think we could see a lot more faces in the stands in Orlando for this match because it's a big one.
That's concerning.
Yeah.
Now, if you guys see my face, it was perfect for a meme because I was legit freaking shocked. Tim said that. What? What
Yeah.
is going on here? Oh man. Okay, well,
Uh,
in that case, Orlando. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's still gonna be a draw. All right, SKC and Nashville.
Yeah, SKC is the better team. They should win this game.
Okay,
They're in third
okay.
place, and I think if they want to be considered as part of the top of the West, like they kind of were at the beginning of the year before everything kind of went crazy, then they need to win against a team like Nashville. So I think they'll get the win.
Okay. Well, we both said that Minnesota would beat down on Nashville, and we
Yeah.
were both wrong. So I'm going to
Yeah.
say a draw in this game.
Okay. Hey, props to Nashville if they can pull out another draw against a good team.
That'd be two in a row.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy to see. All right. Well, speaking of Minnesota, facing off against Dallas, man.
Yeah. Dallas coming off a tough game, losing to Houston, Minnesota, not getting all the points against Nashville. Uh, these teams are interesting because it's like, where are they going to finish in the West? They're both in playoff positions. Minnesota's in a top four spot, which they obviously want to keep because then you get, home games and even more buys this year, potentially. And Dallas, a few points out from that. If Dallas get a win over Minnesota, I think they could actually flip flop. So it's going to be, really important for both. And I have Dallas bouncing back and getting the 3 points.
Okay. Okay. This one's tough. This is the hardest one to predict, I'm going to say, man.
Yeah.
Both teams, like you said, are really good. I mean, that Minnesota just came off a tie. Dallas came off a loss.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Dallas is going
Yeah.
to win this game.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, Portland facing off against San Jose.
Yeah. San Jose, like we have said in the past, is one of those teams where they'll put a few good results together against like bad teams in their conference, and then when they play the really good teams, they get like destroyed like 6-7-0 with that weird man marking system that they love to play there. I think Portland, as we saw them put 6 goals up against LA, I think they're going to do the same thing to San Jose. Even though San Jose has been trending up a little bit here, I think Portland win this game.
I got the same thing. Watching them play against the Galaxy, and it's crazy because it was a lot of the same guys that did work on us
Yeah.
in the MLS back semifinals. Bobasi, Eric Williams, Valeri, Blanco, like those guys have some serious
They're a legit team.
freaking players,
Yeah.
man. Dude, they might fuck around and win the MLS Cup. Like that's how good they are
That's
looking.
what they do. That's just what there's like 3 teams in MLS that do this almost every year. It's Toronto, Seattle, and Portland. They're always hanging around and they always make it far. I wouldn't be surprised.
And it seems like after Seattle like makes a cup, like
Yeah,
they are not far from making it too.
that's so true. Yeah.
This MLS is ran by the freaking Cascadia minus Vancouver. And said they traded with Toronto.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, so we'll keep you posted, guys, on these predictions. Let us know how you do too, guys. Let us know if you are keeping up or falling off from us. So definitely let us know. So good stuff.
Yeah.
So Tim, do you know what section you're going to be in the Rivers End? Is that what my understanding
I'm going to be
on Sunday?
on Sunday.
Okay.
I will be in the River End. I will be in section 139. Technically, it's the first row of where you can have fans, which is kind of nice, but it's like halfway up the section. So
Okay.
yeah, so it'll be nice. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. I'm excited to see how the Union do with it. Like I said, they did a really good job with the MLS's back tournament. I know it was less people, but they just ran everything really well. And it seems like they have the protocols in place to do that again. And I'm just excited to see some live soccer, sit in the stands as a fan and just enjoy the game and, document it as we go along.
It's so exciting. Like, slowly, we are getting things back to normal, but it is great to see, we're going to have some fans in there. And, just hearing Jim talk about it this week, at the press conference, like he wants this too. Like him and his players want fans back in the stadium. So if you guys don't follow me on Twitter or don't follow the Philadelphia Union Twitter account, if you aren't going to the game with Tim, you have another option that is pretty damn solid. I will be hosting the official first ever Hispanic Heritage watch along party. It will be virtual. We will be doing it on Zoom. It is really easy. You can just go on to the PhiladelphiaUnion.com, or you can go right on the Twitter. I did post the tweet that the team actually put out. You can watch it with me. We'll have a lot of fun watching it together. I'll try my best to keep you guys entertained. But listen, you guys know what it is with me. We're just going to hang out. We're just going to have fun. We're going to talk Philadelphia Union soccer, and we are going to enjoy and rejoice our fellow Hispanic brothers and sisters. This is going to be great. I just real quick wanted to say thank you to everyone who showed me support today. It really means the world to me. And if you guys saw my tweet today, the video I put out, it is really emotional. Guys, you don't see behind the scenes, but every day I am grinding so hard, trying to put this team on the map in Philadelphia. It is my dream to fully make this city a five sports city. And every day wake up and I keep grinding, and it's people like who have shown me support, and it is people, of course, like Tim. I can't do this without Tim. Like at this point, like without Tim, I cannot do DOOP by the River. I cannot be El Parcero Philly as far as Philadelphia Union coverage. So thank you so much, guys. This really means the world to me. And, of course, thank you, Tim, for, always being there for me as well. So it was really emotional today. It was a little win, but it was a big win for me. So it was great. So definitely check it out, guys, if you haven't.
You deserve it.
Thank you, Tim.
All this hard work, dude. It's awesome to see, club wants to support those that are really trying to make a name for this sport and this club in the city of Philadelphia. That's what you do. You're going to rock it on Saturday.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, everyone who isn't going to the stadium, join that virtual watch party and say what's up to your boy.
Yes, sir. Again, PSN's got you covered. We got Tim in the stadium. I'll be doing a virtual live party. I'm sure Liam's going to be doing something too. Liam is killing it too. Let's show Liam some love because Liam has been destroying it lately too with all, the Eagle season has been hectic as hell this year. So I give him a lot of props for sure. Awesome stuff. Tim, any last words for our listeners this week or today?
No, everyone enjoy your weekend. Watch some soccer, watch the Union, and stay connected with us.
Watch some soccer, wash your hands, damn it.
Yes.
And repeat.
Get that on the t-shirt.
Yes, we'll have to get that going for sure. Awesome stuff, guys. Thanks again for listening, guys. Please do not forget to rate, subscribe to the podcast. Also follow us on Twitter. We are on Twitter at DOOP By River. You can also follow us on Instagram as well at DOOP By The River Pod as well. From everyone at PSN, that is Tim Lovinguth. I am in Barcelona, Philly, and we are both telling you guys to dupe on. We'll talk to you soon. Go Union!